Hello and welcome to the Anglican Flaneurs. It's the usual situation. It's a Tuesday lunchtime and I'm wandering around the City of London with some vague ideas of what to do for the next vlog. I made my way to Old Broad Street and the intention today is to go around Austin Friars, look at its rich history, the Priory that used to be there and the Dutch church that's been there since 1550. We're roughly halfway between Liverpool Street Station and Bank Station, and the street itself was named originally as Brad Street. I believe that's probably an Old English term for a very broad street, which it is. At the bottom end, it was renamed Threadneedle Street when the Worshipful Company of Merchant Tailors purchased land in the area. We're making our way into Austin Friars from Old Broad Street through a wonderful Victorian archway, part of the building at 123 Old Broad Street. Austin Friars was an Augustinian Priory from about the 1260s till its dissolution in November 1538. Thomas Cromwell, the principal official of King Henry VIII, resided here in the 1530s. However, his house was seized by the Crown following his fall from power and subsequently his execution in July 1540. During the Peasants' Revolt in 1381, 13 Flemings who had been sheltering in the Friary were taken out and lynched by the mob, though the friars themselves appear to have been left unharmed. The Friary Church stood at the centre of the complex, and the Crown in 1277 gave 6 mighty oaks from Windsor Forest. And we can make out a plaque commemorating the coronation of William and Mary, the 300th anniversary. Records show that the construction of the church continued until about 1370. Back to Thomas Cromwell for the moment. By 1532, Cromwell had become a very important figure in the court of Henry VIII and required a property that was more appropriate to his elevated position, so he began to expand his holdings at Austin Friars, purchasing several surrounding properties at a cost of £550. But the demise of Cromwell in 1540 and the dissolution of the monasteries changed very much the status and the appearance of Austin Friars. The mansion of the Friary and some of Cromwell's properties became eventually Drapers' Hall for the Worshipful Company of Drapers. We've just seen a modern addition to Austin Friars, and this is a sculpture of a friar on the facade of number 4, sculpted by T. Metcalfe in 1989. And this information came from the wonderfully informative Metro Girl, and she has provided a lot of information for this vlog and many other vlogs that I've done in the City of London. Very soon on our right hand side we will see the famous Dutch church. Now this church, its original building, was destroyed during the London Blitz in 1940. The original church had been built in 1550 and we'll explore its history during this vlog. And the church is the oldest Dutch language Protestant church in the world. How did this come about? Well, in 1550 London's community of Germans and other strangers was granted the use of the Friary's church nave here. And this was followed with a royal charter on the 24th of July of that year, 1550, that allowed them to establish a stranger church. Although the church managed to escape and survive the Great Fire of London in 1666, a fire did damage the church in 1862, and it was restored the following year to the designs of the architects Edward L. Anson and Knightley. It was this Victorian restoration that was sketched by famous artist Vincent van Gogh and sent to his sister Anna in 1873. The church is home to 2 registered charities, the Netherlands Benevolent Society and the Dutch Centre, and you can see that on the two plaques on the door there. By 1570, the Dutch community was the largest group of expatriates in London, numbering some 5,000 out of 100,000 total population of the time. We will get into the church, but not quite yet. For the next few minutes or so, I'm just going to circulate around Austin Friars and give you lots of different angled views of the church, this really fine building. But there's lots of impressive offices, buildings in this area, so we'll just go around and hopefully you'll enjoy the view. As Austin Friars is just a little way away from the main thoroughfares, we talked about Old Broad Street, of course you're very close to London Wall as well. Many people will pass very close by but never be aware of this gem before them. And it's one of those areas I've known about for some time, and I've even walked through it quickly once or twice, but never really got the chance to really savour its delights. But it's really peaceful. Yes, you can hear still the background noise of the City of London and the traffic, but you can get away from a lot of the busyness of Old Broad Street, Threadneedle Street, Throgmorton Street and London Wall. And I've dropped in a copper plate image of Austin Friars as it would have looked in the mid-16th century. About half of the Dutch in London in the late 16th century were Protestants who had fled the Flemish Low Countries due to religious persecution. But as with much immigration into London, they brought with them lots of skilled craftsmen, including brewers, tile makers, weavers, artists, printers and engravers. And one of these skilled craftsmen who arrived in London was Martin Drushop, I think that's how you pronounce it, who was famous for his 1623 portrait of William Shakespeare. The Dutch community further expanded in the 17th century due to a second wave of migration during the Dutch-born King William III of England's reign. I appreciate I'm jumping around a little on the historical timeline here, but let's go back to 1940, and on the night of the 15th to the 16th of October, just a decade before the Dutch Church would celebrate its 400th anniversary, the medieval buildings were completely destroyed by German bombs. The church's collection of rare books, including Dutch Bibles, atlases and encyclopedias, had been moved out of London for safekeeping just one day before the bombing raid that destroyed the building. The church's manuscript collection and original charter are kept in the London and Metropolitan Archives, and that place is well worth a visit anytime. The foundation stone of the new church was laid on the 23rd of July 1950 by the 10-year-old Princess Irene of the Netherlands, and the new church, built to the design of Arthur Bailey, was completed in 1954. And before we get into the church, let's alter our historical timeline again. The author Charles Dickens refers to Austin Friars in his novel Martin Chuzzlewit. He refers to Chuzzlewit's solicitor, Mr. Phipps, who has an office in Austin Friars, dubbing it a gloomy place. This little bit of footage interested me. It says the courtyard has not been dedicated to the public and is not a public right of way. Now I don't know the legal position here, but it just interested me why this is not a public right of way. If anybody does ever view this vlog and is or has knowledge of this, then please let me know. Now let's get back to reality and get into the church, which was the main reason for coming here. And before us we can see this magnificent stained glass window that was built and designed by the Dutch painter Max Nauta and by Hugh Ray Easton and William Wilson. The church was designated a Grade 2 listed building on the 25th of September 1998, and in the year 2000 the church celebrated its 450th anniversary. For the next few moments, let's just enjoy the silence and let's have a look around this wonderful church. We're now out of the church and we're going round or down this passageway, Austin Friars passage. It's a real wonderful little passageway and you can see some wonderful signage. Pater & Co, stock and share brokers, second floor on right, and stock exchange. This company was run by Arthur Long and Edgar John Blackburn Pater and traded from 1860s to 1923. And again, many thanks to Metro Girl for this information. The short cut through was previously named Bell Alley from at least the 1750s, being renamed to its current title in the 19th century. Also, I'd like to reference here a website called Ian Visits. Now, he goes around a lot of the alleyways around the City of London, amongst other places, and I've used a lot of his material, not just for this vlog, but for other vlogs previously. I like Metro Girl, is a wonderful source of information. And again, both websites, Metro Girl and Ian Visits, are well worth looking at. And I would guess that this is all that remains of the former burial ground of the priory and church. And even though the garden is very small, it's a nice sign of respect. We're now leaving Austin Friars and making our way through Pinner's Passage. Now this comes from the nearby Pinner's Hall, which sits on land that used to be owned by the Worshipful Company of Pin Makers, which I believe no longer exists. And I remember pin making being featured in that wonderful series that Tony Robinson did, it must be about 20 years ago now, which was about the worst jobs in history, and I think he covered pin making during Tudor times. I did 15 years of Tudor reenacting at Campbell Hall in Suffolk, you may remember from the Long Melford video, but I can never remember pin making being done there. We're now back onto Old Broad Street and we're in front of Tower 42, so it's time to do one of those usual photographs from bottom to top, top to bottom, that I seem to include many times in my vlogs these days. Sorry, it's not quite yet. I'm just looking up and down Old Broad Street, just preparing myself to do my usual type of photo. So it's coming soon for those who are eagerly anticipating it. This is getting silly now. I'm just keeping you waiting on purpose. That anticipation. And we're about to start. Here we go. Starting from the bottom, right up to the top. Let's get a bit of sky in and then back down again. Hope you enjoyed that. And yes, I've been up there several times for business meetings, not for the last 10 or 15 years, but there was once a time when I used to go up there regularly. And now we can see one of those famous City of London police boxes. Apparently there are 8 cast iron 20th or 20th century police boxes in the square mile. We've now made our way into Adams Court. This is extra footage that I wasn't intending to put in. The main topic of the day has been Austin Friars, but this is thanks to Ian Visits, that website that I mentioned earlier, for the inspiration and the information here. Now, Adams Court itself owes its existence to the building of a fine house with a courtyard sometime around the 1550s by William de Salisbury. The famous Thomas Adams, Draper and Royalist, was elected as a City of London alderman in 1639 and in 1645 as Lord Mayor of London. And in 1666 the whole area was razed to the ground by the Great Fire of London, and when the area was rebuilt it was decided to name the new passageway after Sir Thomas Adams. No doubt this was a big thank you present from Charles II for being such a staunch and loyal supporter of the monarchy. This area also saw some substantial redevelopment when the South Sea Company acquired land here for their London headquarters in 1711. And much of the court that you see today has maintained that look. Though in the 1830s a large chunk at the northern end was demolished to build the grand home of the City of London Club. Though it must be mentioned that the arrival of the Bank of England nearby in Threadneedle Street in 1733 did change the character of the area somewhat, and houses were then converted into offices and warehouse for traders, and it really became the commercial hub that we see today. We're now coming to the end of our walk. I've added this little piece on, as I said, around Adams Court, thanks to Ian Visits. Hope you've enjoyed the deep dive and walk around Austin Friars, just off Old Broad Street in the City of London. And I'll be recording again on Thursday, and I've no idea at this point in time what I'm going to be filming, but I'll get out at lunchtime and see what inspires me. And a good thing with London and the City of London is that you always find inspiration. You might be feeling a little low, but you come out and do some filming and immediately you feel much better. There's inspiration everywhere. Every street here, every alleyway tells a story. So this is finally the end of the video and a final goodbye from the Anglican Flaneurs. We hope to see you again soon.